Developing right now on Morning News Now, deal or no deal. This morning, a potential peace agreement between the U.S. and Iran now under review that would extend a fragile ceasefire and reopen the critical Strait of Hormuz. A senior Arab official directly involved in talks telling NBC News the deal still needs final approval from top leadership in Tehran, as well as President Trump, with several key issues still unresolved.
We're making some progress. Hopefully we'll continue to make progress. The president will be in a position where he can endorse the agreement, but obviously that's still TBD.
We'll have the latest from the Middle East. Also this morning, under investigation, the Justice Department opening a criminal probe over how legal bills were paid in E. Jean Carroll's sexual abuse lawsuit against President Trump. Meanwhile, the Treasury Department unveiling plans for a $250 bill with the president's face on it. We'll take you to Washington. Plus, a new warning from doctors after a startling spike in overdoses from popular weight loss drugs. And it's a bucket list for bookworms. We will talk to our friends at the New York Times about a fun reading challenge just in time for summer. You're going to love this. It's going to give you a little inspiration for how to spend your beach time.
It's not a list of books, but a list to help guide you to the right book for you.
Kind of like a little bingo.
Yeah, on this Friday morning, good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Yeah, great news. We made it to Friday. We're going to begin this morning with that potential breakthrough in efforts to extend that fragile ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. A senior Arab official directly involved in the talks told NBC News that both sides agreed to the terms of the deal days ago, but have delayed finalizing and announcing it. The proposal is said to be awaiting approval from President Trump and Iranian leaders. Two U.S. officials say the president is reviewing it.
Any deal would be a significant diplomatic moment in a war that has dragged on for 3 months now, but questions remain over whether it will actually resolve the key issues, like Iran's nuclear ambitions. Speaking yesterday, Vice President J.D. Vance was optimistic about an agreement, but said a few details still needed to be ironed out.
I think it's hard to say exactly when or if the president's going to sign the MOU. We're going back and forth on a couple of language points. I do think that we've made a lot of progress here. It's very clear that I think the Iranians, they want a deal, and they want to open the Straits of Hormuz. We want them to open the Straits of Hormuz. There are a couple of issues on the nuclear stuff, the highly enriched stockpile, and also the question of enrichment.
NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley joins us now from Tel Aviv with the latest. So, Matt, another twist in this ongoing saga here. First, tell us a bit more about what we're learning from this senior Arab official and why they say the final announcement is being delayed by both sides.
Yeah, well, this senior Arab official told NBC News that these continuing talks were frustrating, that was the word he used, and that there's a game of chicken and egg being played by the negotiators. It sounds as though, as you heard, that a deal was arrived at several days ago and that both sides went back to their home countries, starting with the Iranians, then the Americans, and both are now waiting for some sort of sign-off. Even as there are still some quibbles over the details, as we heard from Vice President J.D. Vance. Now, the New York Times has quoted an Iranian official who was close to the negotiations, giving a broader sense of what this deal looks like. And it looks as though a lot of the questions that we just heard from the Vice President that are still under negotiation may, in this memorandum of understanding that the U.S. would be submitting to the Iranians as the deal, to end the fighting, that those may be kicked down the road, maybe 30 days or 60 days for further negotiation. So that could essentially mean that all of the thorniest issues around the fighting between the U.S. and Israel and Iran and over the Strait of Hormuz, the nuclear weapons, the highly enriched uranium that Iran is still thought to have an enormous amount of, all of this would be delayed for further talks, which are unlikely to go any more smoothly than the ones we're seeing now.
Matt, Iranian media released a draft of the reported deal. What do they say the terms of this agreement are? Tell us more.
Yeah, well, the White House has already roundly said that this was fake news, that this draft is incorrect. And if it were correct, it would represent a pretty big capitulation on the part of the United States. It contained, as part of this draft deal that, again, the White House has totally rejected, some provisions for, like I mentioned, pushing some of those major issues like nuclear enrichment and the fate of Iran's already highly enriched nuclear uranium down the road for a couple more months. But it also also included language that said that the United States had agreed to withdraw its troops from nearby bases in the region. Those sorts of things seem very unlikely and were probably one of the reasons why the White House so strongly rejected this draft. What we've heard from the New York Times in just the past day or two with more details about this deal, that would be something a little more realistic in terms of all the sides agreeing on it. But again, it kind of ignores the thorniest issues and just says we're going to wait to talk about them later.
And Matt, we also want to ask you about what's happening closer to you. Yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he directed his military to seize 70% of Gaza, extending what it already controls. But this move would be in violation of the agreement President Trump helped broker last year. So what's been the reaction, and just what does this mean for the ceasefire there?
Yeah, it's a really troubling development. Benjamin Netanyahu essentially saying that the Israelis are going to be unilaterally expanding the areas of the Gaza Strip that they control, areas that were very much part of an agreement that ended the fighting in Gaza. So that looks like a major violation. Now, the Israelis have complained that Hamas is the one who is routinely violating the terms of the ceasefire. Palestinian officials, including Hamas, lay the blame squarely on Israel and say that nearly 1,000 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have been killed since the ceasefire came into effect in the autumn of last year. Now, regardless of who you believe, this is not good news for the ceasefire, and it's also a really instructive example, Joe, of what happens when we talk about temporary arrangements where the hard issues are pushed further down the line and they don't ever get resolved. It's been well more than 6 months since there was this ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, and we're seeing the same kind of talk coming out of these talks with Iran, where the biggest issues like disarmament for Hamas is still a major thorny question. Where these don't get resolved, what is impermanent eventually becomes permanent.
All right, Matt Bradley in Tel Aviv. Matt, thank you.
Well, in Washington, the Trump administration is continuing to come up with new ideas for the celebration of America's 250th anniversary, including a controversial new piece of currency.
Yesterday, the Treasury Department unveiled a design for a $250 banknote honoring the milestone birthday, complete with President Trump's face on it. But under current law, no living person can appear on U.S. currency. Printing a bill that bears the president's portrait would require an act of Congress.
NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen joins us on this morning. John, good morning. So what would need to happen for this $250 bill to become a reality?
Well, in theory, at least, Congress would have to sign off on it. There are a number of potential vehicles for Congress to stick that into to try to get it done. Potentially, they could do it with the reconciliation bill that they've been looking at, potentially future appropriations bills. But President Trump has not always been bound by what Congress says he can and can't do. And so I think there's an open question as to whether the Treasury Department, look, you see the secretary, they're holding up the bill with the big smile as though the Treasury Department just received trillions and trillions of dollars to help pay off debt. Instead, just holding up that picture of President Trump. We'll have to see if they try to move unilaterally to do this.
John, let's switch gears here. The L.A. mayoral race getting a ton of national attention this year. And one reason, one of the candidates, certainly not a career politician, but he's making a lot of noise. In an interview with NBC News, he just told us he doesn't need anyone's endorsement, despite receiving President Trump's endorsement. So let's talk about Spencer Pratt.
Yeah, the good news for Spencer Pratt, the former reality TV star who's running in L.A. as a Republican to try to win the mayoralty. A couple pieces of good news. Number one, there are multiple candidates there. It's Karen Bass is the Democratic incumbent, but there's also a socialist city council member who's running. So it's possible that he could get into a general election situation in California. They have what's called a jungle primary, where the top two finishers end up in the general election regardless of party. And the second piece of good news for Pratt is the president has now told all the Republicans in Los Angeles that for sure that he wants them to vote for Pratt. But of course, Pratt is also looking for Democrats, heavily Democratic city. Let's hear what he had to say about it.
My race is a local race. I don't care what's going on in the national politics in other states. I am running for local positions. I don't need anyone's endorsement but mothers. That's who's getting me elected.
He doesn't need anyone's endorsement, but obviously President Trump has made it clear who the president wants.
John, never too early to talk 2028, right? I hope you feel that way anyway, because we're going to do it no matter what. We got a little news here yesterday as we kind of watched this list of who may be in the running. Gretchen Whitmer, she's the governor of Michigan. She's a Democrat. She said she won't be running, then kind of walked back those comments. Give us the rundown here.
Yeah, she was in an interview with the local station and said that she was not going to be one of the many candidates. And then just a few hours later said that she never says never because she didn't expect to run for governor. I'm not sure who on her advisory team got in her ear and told her she doesn't want to take that off the table. But certainly, I think it would be harder. Obviously, she doesn't run for president. She's not going to become president, but also harder to be looked at as a potential vice president or cabinet member if she doesn't run for president.
Good point. All right, John Allen, always great to have you. Thanks.
The Justice Department just opened a criminal investigation into a group that aided E. Jean Carroll when she sued President Trump over sexual abuse allegations back in 2023. She won that case with a jury finding Mr. Trump liable. Well, now this new investigation is focusing on the nonprofit that helped pay Carroll's legal bills and the person behind it. Here's NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez.
The Trump administration's new move against one of the president's political enemies. The Justice Department opening an investigation involving E. Jean Carroll's civil lawsuits over sexual abuse allegations against the president, according to two sources familiar with the matter. But the current probe is not focused on Carroll. Instead, it's on a trust founded by billionaire Reid Hoffman, whose nonprofit helped pay for some of Carroll's legal costs for her lawsuits against the president, the sources tell NBC News. Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn, is a major Democratic donor and an outspoken critic of President Trump. In 2023, Carroll was awarded $5 million in damages after a jury found Trump liable for sexually abusing her in a New York department store in the mid-1990s.
This is not about the money. This is about getting my name back.
In 2024, a jury found that Trump had to pay Carroll more than $83 million in damages for repeated defamation.
I don't even know who this woman is.
The president has repeatedly denied Carroll's allegations. A federal appeals court decided that President Trump did not need to pay the money until the Supreme Court weighs in. The new move follows the DOJ's targeting of other Trump critics, including former FBI Director James Comey, New York Attorney General Letitia James, and California Senator Adam Schiff, who's calling it a vile attack on the rule of law and a disgusting insult to victims everywhere.
We could not reach Hoffman for comment. A source familiar with the investigation tells NBC News Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has recused himself because he was President Trump's personal lawyer. Back to you.
All right, Gabe, thank you. Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos for more on this. Danny, good morning. So the heart of this is a deposition in 2022. E. Jean Carroll was asked if someone was paying for her legal fees. She called it a contingency case, said no one was paying her fees. A year later, Carroll's attorneys informed President Trump's lawyers that her memory was, quote, refreshed, that she secured funding from a nonprofit organization. So what should we know about this? How strong of a case could the DOJ have here if it pursues charges?
It depends what they're looking at. I've heard a lot of people talk about perjury. I feel like perjury might be a bit of a red herring, and here's why. Perjury is very difficult to prove. Now, as it relates to the funding of her lawsuit, that's something that should have been in her present mind. So it may be possible to show that she intentionally gave a false statement while under oath. But if they're looking at perjury for the allegations way back decades ago, there's really no way to prove or disprove those beyond a reasonable doubt now. So if there is a perjury investigation, it's likely to center on that, but also consider potential money laundering, other charges related to the actual funding itself. And that's because perjury is very difficult to prove. It's rarely prosecuted in civil cases like this. So look for some of the other financial crimes to be the focus.
Are you surprised that the Department of Justice is concerning themselves with this, or is this normal?
It's not normal. But here's the thing. The DOJ, by definition, is an agency that prosecutes using its discretion. It can't prosecute everything. It's got lots of resources. Lots of its choices are discretionary. Some things it has to prosecute, counterfeiting, something like that. That's its sole province. Other things, when it comes to things like perjury, mail fraud, those are things that have a very broad definition. And the DOJ has always acted like a selective agency. However, we have seen very recently in the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia that something like vindictive prosecution, which is almost never grounds for dismissal, actually may be revived. It may no longer be a dead motion. So proving selective prosecution may be an out if there ever is a prosecution related to this, because there are some factors that would lend themselves to that motion.
There are many layers to this case. We know in 2024, a jury found President Trump had to pay Carroll $83 million in damages for repeated defamation. A federal appeals court recently decided he didn't have to pay pending a decision now from the Supreme Court. So what options does the high court have in figuring out what to do next?
Yeah, just an aside, we've lost our minds with defamation cases. There are people who are permanently disabled, paralyzed here in New York County, where the verdicts are the highest in the country, and they don't get half of $85 million for saying mean things about people on social media. So things have gotten out of control with the theory of liability of defamation, especially in high-profile cases. However, as that case works its way through the appellate process, remember, when you go to an appeals court, you don't get to relitigate the entire case de novo. All those facts at the trial court are etched in stone. But as a matter of law, the appellate courts may look at damages awards like that and send them back down. You know, it sounds strange, but among plaintiffs' attorneys, sometimes too high of a damages award is not something you want, because it could get cut down on appeal.
All right, Danny, good to have you with us. Thank you.
Well, this morning, first responders are coming through the rubble of a Dallas apartment complex after an explosion leveled the building yesterday. Officials say at least 3 people were killed in the blast that happened just before 1 p.m. local time. According to a Dallas fire rescue spokesperson, they were later identified as 2 women and 1 child. 5 other people were hospitalized, one of whom is in critical but stable condition. Officials say they believe a contractor was working at the building and struck a gas line, which then caused an explosion.
In Florida, a rocket from Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin exploded into a massive fireball. It happened during an engine test on the launch pad last night. You can see the explosion here, creating just huge plumes of smoke, turning the night sky orange for a moment. The explosion happened around 9 p.m. Eastern time at Cape Canaveral. Blue Origin said the New Glenn rocket was being tested ahead of a satellite launch planned for next week. The company confirmed all personnel are accounted for. Emergency officials said there was no threat to the public. Bezos said in a statement on X that it's still too early to know the root cause, but that the company will rebuild.
We've got a closer look now at what to expect from this weekend's forecast with your Morning News Now weather.
In Angie's absence, we've got our longtime friend Bill Cairns joining us this morning. Bill, good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you guys, too. And coming off the holiday weekend, a little bit of a short week, and the weekend's already here. Weather's going to cooperate in most cases, but we have a big country, and there's always a few spots it's not going to be so nice. So we're starting off this morning, umbrella weather for everyone in Missouri, especially some heavy rain. Kansas City, you're going to see some downpours, too. St. Louis, you're going to be on the eastern edge of that, so maybe just a little bit of shower activity. Later today, the wettest spot's going to be from Atlanta all the way down towards Jacksonville. Our friends in Savannah, you're going to get a good soaking rain. Now, this is actually good because we've been in a horrific drought in areas of the southeast. So our drought colors, the worst of it is the exceptional. This is that dark maroon. So the areas where we're actually getting the rain today is where we need it here in North Florida, Georgia especially. So most of this will be out of here by the time we get to Sunday. But the first 2 days here, Friday and Saturday, are going to be pretty wet. And if you want to talk about the worst weather in the country this upcoming weekend, unfortunately, it's for all my friends in northern New England. This is an indoor weekend, especially Friday and Saturday. So this storm drops down out of Canada tonight. So on our color table here, notice the green shows you rain. The heavier rain is in the yellows and reds. When we get to see some of the blue, that's where our maps are showing snow. Yes, we are going to see snow in the high elevations of New Hampshire, Vermont, as we go throughout this weekend, possibly Maine. Mount Washington is the highest location in the Northeast, and they are expecting a couple inches of snow on Mount Washington, and it is going to be a cold wind. Wind chills are going to be in the 40s in areas like Boston, Portsmouth to Portland. It's going to be a soaking rain, just about as ugly as it possibly can be for the end of May. But there's always great weather too, guys. So the West, no problems whatsoever. Texas gets a very nice weekend, and by the time we get to Sunday, even the Northeast gets into a good end of the weekend. But if you guys want a road trip, to the top of Mount Washington. We can get you that sticker on the back of your car that says, I drove out to the top.
Just get the chains.
Nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, a reminder, June 1st is Monday, so,
We'll have pictures of snow, I'm sure, on Monday to show you.
Pretty cool. You seem very excited about it. I can tell you're kind of...
I like unusual things.
See, there you go.
Except for, I do remember well when it snows at your house.
As long as I don't have to shovel it, that's fine.
There you go.
Yes, I have functioning kids that refuse to shovel. Yes, that's an issue in my household.
Funny, Bill is volunteering to go shovel, actually, up in New England this weekend. So just give him a call. All right, thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
In a bit.
All right, get ready, basketball fans. The Western Conference Final is now heading to a Game 7, the two greatest words in sports. The San Antonio Spurs kept their season alive, dominating the Oklahoma City Thunder at home last night. With their backs against the wall, facing elimination, the Spurs just blew out the reigning champs 118-91.
That was a great game. It's been a series for the ages from the very start. It seems only fitting the two powerhouses face off in a winner-take-all here. The Spurs have the chance to make their first finals appearance since 2014, while the Thunder are looking to keep their hopes of repeating as champions alive. Game 7 will take place in Oklahoma City tomorrow night, with the winner taking on the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals.
All right, much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, sharing their story, a candid look at life inside a controversial immigration center in Texas through the eyes of those who lived there.
Up first, though, developing news, a Russian drone targeting Ukraine strikes an apartment in Romania. We'll be right back.
We are back with developing international news this morning. NATO officials are condemning Russia after one of its drones meant to hit Ukraine instead struck an apartment building in Romania.
NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lubanga joins us from Rome to take us around the world in 60 seconds. Hi, Claudio. Good morning.
Savannah, Joe, good morning. Well, that's right. Officials in Romania say that in the early hours of Friday, a Russian drone hit and crashed into a residential building in Romania, injuring 2 people and forcing many others to evacuate. Now, images from the aftermath of the crash show fire coming out of the building in the city of Galati, close to the border with Ukraine. Romania's foreign ministry called the incident a grave and irresponsible escalation from Russia and said the country asked NATO to accelerate the transfer of anti-drone capabilities. Let's come back here to Italy, where on Thursday, police seized more than $230 million in assets linked to the late mafia boss Matteo Messina Denaro, who died in 2023, months after being caught in Sicily after more than 30 years on the run. Now, Italian financial police tracked down his assets spread out across the world after a tip from authorities in Andorra about the former wife of a drug trafficker linked to Cosa Nostra. She's accused to have managed the former boss's assets and was arrested alongside her current husband and son. And let's end this tour of the world in France, where on Thursday, Parliament voted unanimously to repeal a 17th century law which codified the treatment of slaves in the country's colonies. The Code Noir, French for Black Code, allowed all slaves to be treated as property, beaten, sold, raped, or killed. France abolished slavery almost 180 years ago, and the Code Noir, of course, was never again applied, but was also never really repealed and sat quietly on the books until yesterday. The vote comes a week after President Macron said reparation for France's role in hundreds of years of enslavement of African people is an issue that should be addressed, guys.
All right. Claudio, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, here at home, an immigration center in Texas that's become a flashpoint for controversy is the subject of a new NBC News digital documentary. It features 3 couples sharing their stories about life inside the only immigration processing facility built to house children and families. Here's NBC's Yasmin Vasugian with part of the families of Dilley detention.
About 75 miles outside of San Antonio stands a remote prison-like facility known simply as Dilley. It's one of more than 200 immigration detention facilities across the country, but the only one built specifically to hold children and their families. Access to the privately run facility is tightly controlled. Some of the last footage from inside Dilley comes from this ICE-led media walkthrough back in 2019.
Yes, 2,400 is our maximum capacity.
NBC News reviewed court records and spoke to dozens of detainees to piece together what life is like on the inside.
Когда мы приехали в detention, Первое ощущение было, что мы находимся где-то очень далеко от цивилизации.
Приехали где-то в 2 часа ночи.
Первое, что мы увидели, скунс.
Да, первое, что мы увидели, это...
As soon as they arrive, fathers are separated from their families and only allowed to interact during the day.
Дети начали очень сильно переживать, спрашивать, почему, как, зачем. Нам уже давали одежду.
Это не то, чтобы они хотели. Понятные трусы, непонятные носки.
Detainees sleep in crowded rooms, some with up to a dozen beds, in addition to cots, couches, and cribs, under fluorescent lights that often don't turn off.
Первую ночь дети в диком стрессе. На самом деле я тоже взрослый человек. Я очень пугалась.
Esos 2 meses ahí fue un infierno. Estar ahí es un infierno.
In a statement titled Debunking the Mainstream Media Lies, ICE called detention a choice and described Dilley as safe, humane, and family-friendly. But hundreds of pages of sworn testimony, along with written complaints and interviews with detainees, paint a picture of squalid conditions, abusive staff, and untreated illness and injuries.
Stop! Ma'am, stop! Stop!
The Trump administration campaigned on mass deportations.
We are looking to set a goal of a minimum of 3,000 arrests for ICE every day.
Mass deportations means mass arrests and mass detentions.
Any client that we have spoken to has told us...
Ilora Mukherjee is a Columbia Law professor and runs one of the nation's leading immigrant rights clinics. She has represented more than 80 people at Dilley. None of them have a criminal record. She says Dilley's harsh conditions are by design.
A pillar of their mass deportation agenda is self-deportations, literally making conditions in immigration detention facilities so unbearable that people give up their cases.
Every family we spoke with told us they were repeatedly pressured to give up their asylum claims.
Cuando nosotros entramos a Dilley, nos dijeron que nuestra salida más rápida era una autodeportación.
Federal courts say kids can't be held in immigration custody for more than 20 days. But in 2025, court-appointed monitors found the Trump administration kept more than 900 children past that legal limit.
Мы с Костей спали вместе, потому что он от меня не отходил ни на шаг, он боялся. Он просто лежит и говорит: «Мама, а мы плохие?» Я говорю: «Нет, сынок, мы хорошие».
Fue un momento muy difícil, pidiéndole a Dios que por favor que salvara a mi hija.
И он обкрутил эту веревку вокруг шеи. Он не улыбался, он не смеялся, это не была шутка. «Мама, я не хочу жить».
Мы здесь находимся в таких искусственных, созданных условиях, чтобы люди здесь психологически ломались.
Просто это было абсолютно бессмысленно. Да просто для чего это было? Чтобы испортить детям психику?
У них это получилось.
Ну, это получилось, да. Хулиганишь.
Our thanks to Yasmin Vasugian for that report. Well, with help from the Immigrants' Rights Clinic at Columbia Law School, all 3 of those families were able to leave Dilley and are continuing to pursue their asylum cases. As of March, 50 children remained at Dilley. You can go to NBCNews.com for more on this story, and the full documentary is available exclusively for NBC News subscribers. You can scan that QR code. It's down there in the bottom left of your screen right now to watch. Well, coming up, doctors sounding the alarm on an alarming rise in overdoses from popular weight loss drugs.
When we come back, a look at the problem and what patients need to know to stay healthy. This is Morning News Now.
We're back now with a health alert, a warning about compounded GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Well, as more Americans turn to these medications, overdoses are rising at an alarming rate. NBC's Ann Thompson takes a look at the problem in this report, produced in partnership with KFF Health News.
Across social media, influencers tout telehealth companies offering weight loss medications for lower prices.
There it is.
It sounded like a perfect solution for Carly McLean, a new mom in Nashville trying to lose 50 pounds.
I was looking for a compounded semaglutide because I knew that was the most affordable option to move forward. I was looking for something that had good reviews and actually worked.
Her insurance didn't cover Ozempic, so she found Mochi Health and a compounded, cheaper option.
Ozempic was about $1,500 for me a month, and the one that I ended up going through was about $179 a month.
That's a huge savings.
Yes.
What she didn't know was how terribly wrong everything was about to go.
Did you fear you were going to lose your life?
Yeah.
Carly is one of a growing number of Americans who overdosed on GLP-1s. NBC News, in collaboration with KFF Health News, found that as GLP-1s become easier to get, poison control centers across the country are reporting an alarming increase in overdoses, from 1,366 cases in 2021 to 15,102 in 2025, a more than 1,000% increase. In Carly's case, the problem was on the label.
I received it, and the medication said to inject 88 units, and it seemed kind of high to me.
So she says she called Mochi.
What were you told?
I was told that it is the correct dose.
And she took the medication as directed.
And then I get a message from the doctor at Mochi saying that I took way too much.
Almost 9 times too much. Rushed to the emergency room, she would spend 2 nights in the hospital. Dr. Gitanjali Srivastava, an obesity specialist at Vanderbilt Health in Nashville, says to expect more trouble ahead as people opt for cheaper compounded drugs that act like brand names but are not FDA approved.
We do not have any control over what is actually mixed within the compounded formulation, and there's not a standardization or standard process where compounding would be very effective or not.
I'm still upset that it happened to me, and I'm still upset that nobody's taking accountability for what they did to me.
Months later, Carly says she still has side effects from the overdose. Mochi Health says it's reviewing the case and is in direct and ongoing communication with Carly to reach a resolution.
You okay?
But so far, there is none. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
Joining us now is NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel to help us better understand these risks here of these drugs, how to take them safely. Dr. Patel, good morning. So we just heard some super concerning numbers there in Ann's piece. KFF Health, who this was in partnership with, they also found medication error reports linked to GLP-1s that jumped from about 2,000 to more than 25,000 in just a few years. Poison control calls rose nearly 1,500%. I mean, just wow. As more people are turning to these, and a lot of them are through these telehealth companies, what should they understand about safety concerns?
I think the most important concern is really not necessarily related to the telehealth company. It's probably related to the compounded. As you heard in Ann's piece, it was a compounded medication, which means it's not identical to the semaglutide or tirzepatide that are manufactured by the official drug manufacturer. These are meant to be identical, but in many cases, as we're hearing, they're either not identical, we're not sure what the products are, and then in many cases, that 25,000 errors, Savannah, are really related to dosing errors, as you heard from the patient in Ann's piece.
So, Dr. Patel, people probably expect nausea with these medications. That's a pretty common side effect. But when does it go from, okay, this is normal, to I should be worried? And if that happens, what's the first thing you do? Do you call the doctor? Do you call poison control?
Yeah.
Do you just head to the ER?
Yeah, so a couple of things. You're right, Joe. The most common side effects, and we've been talking about these drugs across the brands, are GI side effects. So nausea, vomiting. When you see this escalation, so I often tell patients a little bit of nausea is to be expected. But you know what, Joe? What does a little bit mean to somebody? It's very individualized. So what I tell people is that if you feel so sick that getting up or even having a sip of water is just utterly nauseous to you, that should be a sign of concern. And your first call should be to your doctor's office. I always say call our office first. Also call a pharmacist because it's not easy to get to your doctor many times. And then poison control is there for a reason. And so I do think those are all kind of signs, symptoms, GI. I also remind people that this is something that can lower your blood sugar. So those signs of dehydration, also with hypoglycemia, dizziness, shakes, and then obviously any severe abdominal pain, because we're looking for something called pancreatitis. That can also be just a reminder that those can potentially be side effects. And sometimes, unfortunately, could lead to fatality, which we've had reporting of.
Wow. For somebody who's hearing this report, maybe they're just starting out on a GLP-1. What do you want them to know?
Yeah. First, look at the source. I will always write for a prescription for something that is the true that is not a compound, that is the true chemical. So even if you get something and you're not sure, just say, what is the source of this? Or when they send you to a pharmacy, just ask, what are the products and ingredients? You're right. You're putting this into your body. So know what you're putting into your body. Verify the dosing. Don't think it's too much to say, okay, exactly what do I do? And what exactly is the dose? And what should I do? And then number 3, ask that question about the side effects, because many times people just assume that you know, or that you might have heard something, but then ask about those side effects. And then 4th, have a plan in place. If you find that you don't double up on your doses, if you find that you skip a dose, I have patients that say, oh, I forgot to take a dose, so I just took 2. Do not do that. Just stop and then think about it and get in touch with a practitioner.
All right, Dr. Patel, great info there. Thanks so much.
Coming up, critics call it a growing threat to higher education. AI-generated research papers published in fake academic journals.
Wow, some of those papers even using the names of real professors without their consent. When we come back, the alarming findings from this new report. That's next on Morning News Now. Back now with a jarring report on the growing influence of artificial intelligence in academia. This time, there's a growing threat of fake AI-generated academic journals posing as legitimate publications.
In recent months, more than 100 of these AI-generated papers were published within a network of fake academic journals. In some cases, the papers use the names of real professors at accredited universities without their knowledge.
NBC News AI reporter Jared Perlow joins us here in the studio for more on this. Jared, it is always great to have you with us, and these conversations are so fascinating. So you point out what Joe just said, like sometimes using a real professor's name, also though sometimes fake names, and then also even that, like essentially it's like a word salad essentially in some of these, like just kind of nonsensical if you take the time to really look at it. What concerns you the most about these types of publications?
Well, I think what's most concerning is that the era of AI deepfakes or AI generated content masquerading as legitimate content has now reached the scientific journals, the scientific endeavors. So we've seen this before, right? I mean, going back a couple of years, we've seen AI-generated images, AI-generated voices. Now, you know, it's very easy to clone a human's voice. That's something we've had to worry about before, but now we have to worry about this infiltrating the world of science. And this is like at its core how we understand the world, how we make meaning about the world, how we debate between peers at universities to create new knowledge. And if AI is infiltrating that world, that's what makes me most concerned. So I think what's really the takeaway here is this new AI-generated journal phenomenon. I found several. With over 100 articles, as you mentioned, is really muddying the waters of what's real, what's not, and what can we actually depend on.
So what does this mean for the future of academics? If you're a doctor or a scientist or a professor, are we going to have to change the way we sort of verify what the standards are for this kind of work?
I think we will. So I talked with many professors, some of whom, as you mentioned, their real names were used. They were real professors at the University of Pennsylvania, at New York University. They said they didn't write the articles, but nonetheless, these articles were, you know, using their names. And they're really concerned about that. You know, I don't want somebody to say I've written articles that I haven't done. Maybe they'd be better than what I would write, but than what I would write. But it's really concerning. So the doctors and the professors that I've talked to say that there's going to have to be some adjustment to how these things are verified, whether that's some new level of peer review, whether that's making sure that people vouch for the fact they haven't used AI. I think there's going to be some new systems that have to be put in place, but we don't yet know what those are.
Wow. I think another issue, just even before it was like AI doing things so intelligently, is media literacy. I mean, it's just like tough to tell. But then it's also even tough with these tools that are being developed to try to detect AI. to detect AI. So what can we do to try to make sure the information we're getting is true?
Well, I think it's a critical question and one that will evolve in the next couple months, next year. I think one of the biggest things that people can do is just look at the source. So the journal that I identified here just popped up in the past couple of months. So if you're writing an essay or you're relying on these journals' academic information for critical purposes, then I would want to make sure that the journal maybe has existed for more than 6 months or a year. Big names in science like Nature, like Cell, if you're doing biology stuff. Those are the things that really matter. They have a real reputation. I also think that maybe some of the journals can start to implement some sort of like AI disclosure, whether, making sure that if a human professor submits something, they have maybe 2 other professors that can vouch for that and say that, oh, I know my colleague down the hall, he actually wrote that, he's a real human, he exists. But as you mentioned, I would really caution people against using AI text detectors because they're really not that reliable.
Real quick while we have you, there's a bill heading to the desk of J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, that could change the way that AI companies are regulated. What should we know about this?
Yeah, it's a huge new development. So this is the 3rd large AI bill in the country after California and New York. But this new bill would require companies to rely on outside evaluators to make sure that they're complying with their safety plans. So right now, if companies cause catastrophic risk, this is defined as damage over $1 billion, then they're in charge of grading their own homework. They basically design a plan and then they say, well, we think we're doing this well.
Right.
People say that's not legitimate enough. So now this new bill, if JB signs it, which he said he will require outside people to get involved as well. People are saying this is a huge advance for AI safety.
Jared Perlow, always great to have you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Let's get a look at what's making news on Wall Street this morning. Blockbuster weight loss drug Zepbound is going to be heading back to CBS.
NBC News business and economy reporter Ali Canal has our Money Minute. Hey, Ali, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. That's right. Eli Lilly says CBS Caremark will once again cover the company's weight loss drug Zepbound starting in October. This comes after it dropped the medication from its preferred coverage list last year, a move that sparked patient backlash and even a class action lawsuit. Lilly's newly approved weight loss pill Foundayo will also be added to the list of covered drugs starting next week. Meanwhile, Google's Waymo says select riders in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix will soon be able to hail its Ojai robo-taxis. The new vehicles feature more legroom and easier entry for passengers. It also costs less to build, which is important for Waymo's push to rapidly expand its fleet. But it does come as the company has faced more scrutiny over safety after temporarily pausing some operations last week over issues related to flooding and freeway construction zones. And finally, moving on to one big brand looking to score, McDonald's appears to be bringing back Squishmallows, this time with a FIFA World Cup theme. The fast food giant teasing a new limited-time Happy Meal arriving June 9th, which is just days before the tournament kicks off. The last Squishmallows promotion back in December 2023 was a major hit, helping fuel demand for a toy brand that sold hundreds of millions of plush toys worldwide. And it's also a playbook that McDonald's knows well, pairing those limited-time collectibles with major cultural moments to keep those customers coming in. And guys, the Squishmallows love is real. So June 9th, mark your calendars. I'm sure this will be one that a lot of customers will be fleeing to McDonald's for.
No kidding.
Can't remember the last time I ordered a Happy Meal, though.
I know.
So I feel like...
This feels like it's going to be one of those, like, there's a run on McDonald's, though, because those things are so popular.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Thanks, Allie.
Summer heats up. Americans trying to keep their homes cool are bracing for higher utility bills. On top of that, data centers popping up across the country are threatening to sap more from the power grid. So to combat that, some utility companies are pushing a new system that could help customers actually get cash back for the power they aren't using. NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung went to Texas to see how it works.
Consumers are feeling the zap of higher utility costs, as the average cost of electricity is up over 40% since 2020, a huge problem in places like California, Illinois, and here in Houston.
You know, the cost of everything is going up right now, and I'm getting fairly close to retirement, so cost control for us is a big thing.
Jeff writes cost control, solar panels familiar to many.
On the roof on the back side of the house.
Oh, okay. But hooked into a Tesla of a different type, glued on the side of his house. It's called a virtual power plant, or VPP. The solar panels on the roof not only power Wright's home, but excess energy not used by the house gets stored by the battery, where it can be sent back to the power grid.
When it gets to about 80% or so, then it just starts dumping everything into the grid to help stabilize the grid.
Instead of owing a monthly bill to his utility company, Wright gets money back.
We generate more than we actually use, and so that excess energy goes back, and we get the credit from Sunrun, $240 a year, and our electrical bill is at or near zero every month.
Installing a system isn't cheap, sometimes costing tens of thousands of dollars. But Sunrun, which sells and leases solar equipment, says the math can work out.
Those prices that we pay to customers vary from state to state, but usually it ranges from hundreds up to maybe $1,000 per year for a customer for allowing Sunrun to dispatch the energy out of its batteries onto the grid to help their neighbors.
VPP programs are available or will soon be available in 35 states and Washington, D.C., with the Department of Energy saying they could be part of the solution to feeding electricity-hungry data centers. The setup's simple. VPPs can be powered by everything from smart thermostats to appliances. And utility providers like Reliant hope one day even buy electric vehicles.
We talk about 1 to 2 hours with VPP when you think about thermostats, think about batteries. But when you start looking at EVs, that's 3 to 4 hours. That's more of a sustainable, durable load that we can count on.
That could be critical in Texas, where extreme weather has also strained the grid. Reliant's Bill Clayton says VPPs are part of a future where everyone can chip in.
When you think about sort of savings, when you think about comfort, when you think about really protecting the grid and doing your part, all of us doing our part to really create more resiliency within the grid, you're just missing out. And it's not hard to participate.
Brian Chung, NBC News, Houston, Texas.
All right, coming up, calling all bookworms. If you're looking for a few good page turners to read this summer, this is for you.
Yeah, the New York Times is out with a new summer reading challenge, so don't book it. Morning News Now, I'll be right back. Finally, this hour, as the summer travel season gets ready to kick into high gear, you might be thinking about that summer reading list.
Well, this year, the New York Times is helping us out. They've come up with a fun way to help you curate your list, and you could even win a prize.
For more, let's bring in Jennifer Harlan. She is the editor of the New York Times Book Review. Good to have you with us. So I love this. So it's not a list of the books you should read, but you're giving us guidelines to help us find those books. Walk us through these guidelines.
Exactly. So we call it our summer reading bucket list. And basically it's a list of 10 kind of mini challenges or literary to-dos, everything from reading a book that came out in the last year to reading a book that takes place in the summer, all of which you could fulfill by reading a lot of different kinds of books. You could read all fiction and check off all the items. You could read all nonfiction. The idea is not for it to feel like homework or something onerous, but sort of little prompts to help guide you through your summer and help you read a little more widely and thoughtfully and maybe more adventurously than you might have otherwise.
One of these things, I think it's number 10 of 10, is read one from your library.
Yes.
Bonus points if it's recommended by the librarian. Why was that important for y'all to throw in there?
I mean, we know how important libraries are to communities and what incredible resources librarians are when it comes to recommending books. We rely on them ourselves. And so this is hopefully a way to encourage people to also get out and engage in the community with the librarians near them.
So you have 10, was it 10 guidelines? Is that what you put there? So if you get through all of that, do you have a recommendation for people, or do you think the 10 will keep people pretty busy this
So we have 10 items on the list,
Yeah.
and we're asking people to try and check off at least 5.
Okay.
We know summer can be pretty busy, so we don't want, and we don't want this to feel like homework. The
Right,
idea is for
exactly.
this to be fun. And then once you've checked off your items, there is a form on our website where you can submit the books that you read this summer, and we will be selecting 10 readers who will get some special goodies that are chosen specifically for you by our editors.
Why do this rather than just putting out a list of books to read?
Well, we also do that. We just published yesterday our summer preview of the fiction and nonfiction that we think people will be excited about this summer. But, you know, there are a lot of different kinds of readers out there who love a lot of different kinds of books. And hopefully the bucket list kind of offers something for everybody. So whatever you like to read, there's something in there that will help get you doing more of that reading this summer.
Is there something on the bucket list that you particularly like, or something that maybe you hadn't thought of or tried before that you really hope people will sort of give a chance to?
I mean, I will say, I think actually number 10 is also my favorite. of the items on there. I think I'm constantly surprised by things that I wouldn't, especially sort of like hidden gems or maybe classics that I don't know about that a librarian will. And so that's the one where I think there's the most kind of potential for discovery.
And tell us about the other list of the books that you think people will be excited about, fiction and nonfiction. Which ones are standing out for people?
There's a lot of big books coming this year. We've got Ann Patchett has a new novel coming out. Maggie O'Farrell, who wrote Hamnet, which was just adapted last year, has a new movie. There's our own like Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan have a big political book coming out soon. There's a fantasy writer I love, Lex Croucher, who has The Unmagical Life of Briar Jones. That's one of my personal favorites I'm most excited about. So hopefully there's, again, a little bit of something for everyone on there.
Do you recommend, I think oftentimes the stereotype is summer reading, it has to feel light. It has to feel like
has to be
beachy.
set at the beach.
It looks good with sand brushing over it.
I think there's definitely room for that. Like summer is a time of kind of like vacation and fun, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with gobbling up a bunch of really delicious escapist books that you can really lose yourself in. But I think there can also be something nice with this season where you have a little more extra time. The days are a little longer. It's a good time to check off those things that have been on your list for a while.
Dive right in.
Before the segment, we were talking about a book that we both want to read called Yesteryear. First, tell me why you want to read it and what it's about. But also, I think it's so interesting, like when it's a novel and it really breaks through. Like everybody's talking about it. I have seen multiple book clubs that I follow say it's their pick right now. And it's kind of neat when it feels like so many people are rallying around the same book.
Yeah, we actually announced this morning that it is our June book club pick as well. So,
there you go.
You can join us in discussing it on the New York Times, and I'll be discussing it with my colleagues on our podcast later this month. Yeah, I think the novel, it's a debut by Carol Claire Burke, and it's about a trad wife influencer who wakes up one day in the 1850s, in the era that she's been sort of cosplaying for her online life, but without the producers or the cameras or the nannies or the refrigerators. And I think it's
the refrigerator's good.
It's definitely I mean, I think the premise really grabs you right away with this one. It's hard to resist.
All right, Jennifer Harlan, it's so good to have you with us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, that's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, so the news continues right now. Good morning. Let's start with the good news. It is Friday. Thanks for being here. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, is it deal or no deal? A potential path to peace with Iran now reportedly at President Trump's desk. This latest agreement proposing a 60-day extension of that shaky ceasefire while opening up the Strait of Hormuz. But will the feuding foes sign off on it? Plus, the mounting currency controversy over the commander-in-chief's picture on one big bill. And more tough news for your wallet. A brand new government report revealing inflation is ramping up at its fastest pace in years. But which parts of the economy are hit hardest, and how can you keep better tabs on your finances as we head into the summer? We are watching your bottom line. Plus, stunning scenes out of Cape Canaveral overnight. A Blue Origin rocket seen on camera exploding on the launch pad during its latest test run. What the Jeff Bezos-backed company says went wrong. And later in the hour, we're marking National Water Safety Month with some top tips on the ways our youngest swimmers, even as young as a few weeks old, can stay safe this sizzling summer season. Never too young to start learning all of those skills in the swimming pool.
We can't remind you of those safety tips enough.
Exactly. All right, let's begin this hour with that potential deal to extend the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran and open the critical Strait of Hormuz. A senior Arab official directly involved in the talks told NBC News both sides agreed to the terms of the deal days ago. The proposal is said to be awaiting approval from President Trump and Iranian leaders. Two U.S. officials say the president is reviewing it.
Well, while one ceasefire is close, another in the region could be torpedoed. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday that he will direct his military to expand its control of Gaza and seize 70% of the Palestinian territory. Well, that move, that would defy the U.S. brokered deal, which called for a gradual withdrawal of Israeli troops. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has more on all this from Jerusalem. Richard, good morning.
This peace deal with Iran increasingly feels like a mirage. Every day we seem to be getting closer, but never get there. Now, U.S. officials say they have a memorandum of understanding with Iran, but it is yet to be finalized. U.S. and Iranian negotiators are closing in this morning on a preliminary peace deal to extend the ceasefire for 60 days, enter into detailed negotiations on Iran's nuclear program, and open the Strait of Hormuz, lifting shipping blockades that have sent gas prices soaring. A senior Arab official directly involved in the talks tells NBC News negotiators agreed to the outline of a deal 4 days ago, but have been awaiting final approval from Iran's top leaders and President Trump. Vice President Vance confirmed the agreement is nearly ready, but says he doesn't know when or if the president will sign, with some discrepancies on key questions remaining.
We're going back and forth on a couple of language points. There are a couple of issues on the nuclear stuff, the highly enriched stockpile, and also the question of enrichment.
But it all remains very fragile, with Iran and the U.S. exchanging fire twice this week, nearly ending the deal. And a key U.S. partner in the region, Israel, is expressing doubt on the agreement, officials saying it doesn't limit Iran's missile program. And other ceasefires President Trump helped to negotiate are not holding. Not in Lebanon and not in Gaza. Israeli forces occupy about 50% of the Gaza Strip to pen in Hamas. Prime Minister Netanyahu now says Israel plans to occupy even more of the territory, which was never part of the peace deal. We were at 50%, he said. We moved to 60%. My directive is to move step by step, first of all, to 70%. Let's start with that. It's not an encouraging sign for a new Middle East ceasefire, even if it is finalized. The Israeli military today issued new evacuation orders for civilians in Lebanon, telling them to leave certain parts of the country for their own safety. The evacuation orders now apply to nearly 20% of Lebanon.
Richard, thank you.
In Washington, controversy is growing over the planned celebrations to mark America's 250th anniversary. A number of musical acts announced as performers are now dropping out of the lineup. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez joins us now with those details. Gabe, good morning.
Joe, good morning. Officially, the nonprofit organizing group Freedom 250 bills itself as nonpartisan, but a wave of controversy has exploded after performers were announced this week. Now, new divisions ahead of the country's 250th anniversary. This morning, President Trump's efforts to put his stamp on Washington and the nation's anniversary are in the spotlight. The president has been gearing up for celebrations in the nation's capital this summer to mark America's 250th birthday, including a series of concerts on the National Mall.
And this momentous anniversary year, that's what it is. It's a momentous year.
But a wave of artists are dropping out of the event called the Great American State Fair. A group called Freedom 250, backed by the president, announced the lineup on Wednesday. But now multiple artists are saying they won't attend, including Martina McBride, Young MC, Bret Michaels, and the Commodores. Many citing a heated political environment, saying they initially thought the events would be more nonpartisan. While plans are moving ahead on another event marking America's 250th, a UFC fight night in June, also celebrating the president's birthday. Construction already underway, transforming the south lawn of the White House. But now pushback from a key voice, wildly popular podcaster Joe Rogan, a UFC commentator expressing concern.
The White House thing is odd. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of fighting outside at all. The last time, like last year, same day, it was 100 degrees.
Still, Rogan says he plans to be there. This all comes amid some Republicans' push to mark America's milestone in another way, a proposed $250 commemorative banknote. The Washington Post publishing a mock-up with President Trump's portrait.
I don't think that there's anything untoward about having the President of the United States, the person who was President of the United States, on the 250th anniversary bill.
But under current law, no living person can appear on U.S. currency, so any changes would take an act of Congress. Several Republicans are backing legislation to do just that, though it's stalled in the House. Now, Democrats are vowing to fight the idea, so it's unlikely to go anywhere. Still, the president's signature starting this June will start to appear on U.S.
currency, new U.S. currency, Joe.
All right, Gabe, thank you so much.
Well, in economic news last month, U.S. inflation increased by its fastest pace in 3 years.
It rose by 3.8% year over year. That number comes from a key indicator known as the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index. Digging deeper, something known as the core PCE prices, that excludes food and energy, rose by 3.3% year over year.
Here to discuss is Caleb Silver, Investopedia's editor-in-chief and the chief business editor of People Inc. Caleb, great to see you. Walk us through these numbers and what they tell us about the state of inflation right now.
Yeah, I thought it might be worse. These rising energy prices, particularly rising gas prices, putting pressure on prices everywhere else. The Federal Reserve likes to look at PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, versus the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, because it's much more dynamic. It really tracks our spending. It tracks our spending throughout the month, whether the CPI really measures a basket of goods in the first half of the month, and it shows how much we've been changing our spending patterns, and we've been changing them because of these higher gas prices. So if you see higher beef prices, maybe you buy chicken, the Fed tracks that, and they prefer the PCE to be right around 2%. It is not even close to that right now. It's heading in the wrong direction.
So why is it these numbers are considered to be the Federal Reserve's preferred gauge of inflation, as opposed to the CPI reports that we often talk to you about here on our show?
Because when we see higher prices as consumers, we make decisions. We may choose not to take that plane trip over the summer because airline tickets got much more expensive due to higher jet fuel prices. So the PCE will track that. The Fed can see that through the spending. It sees the shift and change from goods to services and how we spend our money. And also yesterday, along with the PCE report, came the GDP report, the gross domestic product report. It shows how much we're producing as a nation per individual, and that only grew about 1.6%. The estimate was around 2%. So slowing growth, higher prices, that is not the direction that most folks want to see this economy moving in.
All right, Caleb, the next Fed meeting is?
Yeah, we're talking about 19 days, 5 hours, and 45 minutes, and we'll have a new Fed chair in place, Kevin Warsh. At that time, I don't expect any interest rate changes at that meeting or furthermore for the rest of the year. So expect interest rates to remain where they are and prices to remain at this level unless we get a dramatic drop in oil prices.
So with this alphabet soup of information being thrown at us right now, what's your best advice to folks who are managing their bills and finances as we do head into the summer season?
Yeah, lock in right now. Know that rates aren't going to change that much, especially credit card APRs. They're not going to move that much. They're north of 21%. We see credit card delinquencies starting to rise again towards pandemic levels. And that's pretty scary right now when you think about the fact that those rates aren't going to change. Rates are going to be where they are pretty much for the end of the year. We may get a drop in oil prices, which could bring overall prices down. But we're kind of at this sustained higher inflation for a longer level. Know that that's going to be the case through the rest of 2026.
All right, Caleb Silver, thank you.
The Justice Department is spearheading a criminal investigation into E. Jean Carroll's lawsuits over her sexual abuse allegations against President Trump. Carroll accused the president of sexually assaulting her in a New York City department store back in the 1990s. 3 years ago, a jury found the president liable for sexually abusing her. Well, this new probe is centered on a trust founded by a billionaire Democratic donor whose nonprofit helped pay some of Carroll's legal bills. NBC News Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent Kelly O'Donnell has the details.
Good morning, Joe and Savannah. The larger context for this is the president's very public stand that he wants to see the Department of Justice pursue his political rivals and perceived enemies with investigations. E. Jean Carroll is a private citizen who successfully sued Mr. Trump, and now that civil litigation is connected to a new criminal probe. This morning, 82-year-old writer E. Jean Carroll propelled back into the center of a legal drama. Linked to Carroll's 2 civil court victories against President Trump.
I got sued by E. Jean Carroll.
But this time, it's the Department of Justice opening a federal criminal probe focused on how her legal team was funded. A source familiar with the investigation says prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Northern Illinois are looking into a nonprofit that helped pay Carroll's lawyers. Carroll and her lawyer declined comment. And late Thursday, the U.S. attorney released a statement that his office has never opened a criminal investigation into E. Jean Carroll, but did not address the nonprofit, which is backed by billionaire LinkedIn founder and Democratic donor Reid Hoffman, whose role President Trump has repeatedly and publicly criticized.
Reid Hoffman is sponsoring this woman that said terrible things from 30 years ago.
A jury found Mr. Trump liable for sexually abusing Carol in a department store dressing room in the 1990s. Later, he was found liable for defaming her with an $83 million judgment. Carol spoke with Savannah in 2023.
This is about getting my name back. And that's what we accomplished.
The president has asked the Supreme Court to toss out the case and denied wrongdoing.
I denied the story because it's not true. I have no idea who the woman is, and I never met her.
In a deposition, Mr. Trump was shown a photo of himself and Carol, but misidentified her as his second wife.
That's Marla. Yeah, that's my wife.
Unlike those other investigations, E. Jean Carroll is not a public official, and neither is Reid Hoffman. We've made multiple attempts to reach Hoffman for comment. Also, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has recused himself from the Carroll-related investigation, according to a source. He was one of the president's personal lawyers before he was appointed to the top job at Justice. Joe, Savannah?
All right. Thank you, Kelly.
Well, a major recovery effort is underway in Dallas this morning after a deadly gas explosion tore through an apartment complex yesterday. First responders are still combing through the wreckage with multiple people still unaccounted for. NBC News correspondent Ryan Chandler, he is live there now with the latest for us. Ryan, good morning.
Well, good morning. You're right. Firefighters spent all night sifting through every inch of that wreckage, hoping to find any sign of life after this tragedy that has just shocked this neighborhood in the entire city of Dallas. The latest message from officials as the sun went down over that debris, there may still be more people left to find. Overnight, the urgent search for the missing after a deadly blast demolished this Dallas apartment building.
Oh my God!
The casualties rising overnight. 3 people were killed, including a child, according to authorities. People across Dallas shocked as the massive smoke cloud rose above the city.
I want to encourage our entire city, the entire state, the entire nation to come together and pray for all the people.
Officials tell us they believe a contractor was working at the building and struck a gas line, triggering the violent blast. More than 100 firefighters rushing to the rubble, first responders emotional as they work to find the victims.
There are a number of things that we are before we are first responders, and that is, excuse me, and that, you know, we're parents, and with school being let out and the possibilities regarding who might be in those apartments.
At the scene Thursday night, an agonizing wait for answers.
We don't know where they're at. We can't find them.
Rosie Martinez says she was searching for her sister and her 1-year-old nephew.
This doesn't feel real to me. It feels like I don't know how to react. I don't know how to act. I just want to see that they're okay.
The search continues today, with more still unaccounted for.
We still got quite a bit to go. We may very well find more victims.
And still with so many people displaced, we're learning that the city is helping those who don't have a home to return to anymore with temporary shelter, putting them up in hotels. We're also learning that the NTSB, the transportation investigators, are sending a team to Dallas. They also investigate things like pipelines and major explosions. Still so many questions about how this went so catastrophically wrong. Savannah.
All right, Brian, thank you so much.
All right, we could use a little boost here, so let's talk about the NBA playoffs. The Western Conference Finals heading now to a decisive winner-go-home Game 7.
Doesn't this music just pump you up? The San Antonio Spurs dominated the court last night, tying the series at 3 games apiece, beating the Oklahoma City Thunder 118-91. These two powerhouse teams will tip off one last time Saturday night with a trip to the NBA Finals at stake.
We are so lucky now to be joined by NBC Sports host, play-by-play announcer Mike Tirico, who was calling all the action last night. Mike, it is so good to have you with us this morning. The Spurs surviving elimination thanks to their superstar Victor Wembanyama. He dominated the game from start to finish. So walk us through some of the highlights. I mean, I can tell you I'm a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, so the Spurs broke my heart a couple weeks ago, but I know just how good this team is. How hungry are they?
Joe, I won't remind you that Oklahoma City beat Minnesota to get to the NBA Finals last year.
Yes.
That's why they're the defending champs. Sorry about that. Yeah, look, this San Antonio team is for many folks a year ahead. Their best players are 20, 21, 22, 24. They're a very young team that many of us thought in the 2027 season would be one of the best in the West. And they have emerged now 60 wins this year. They've played 6 games, 3 even here with the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champs. And setting up a Game 7, Victor Wembanyama, if you have not seen him, is a one-of-a-kind talent, a very, very special player. Handles the ball, 3-point shots, and all the other things that 7'4" players do in the NBA. He's been truly impactful, but a lot of good young players around him, the reason that they're a game away from the NBA Finals.
Okay, so the Spurs, they have momentum heading into tomorrow night's big Game 7, but then OKC, they're going to have home court advantage. What's your read here? What do you think are the biggest factors that could make this go either way?
Well, the crowd's a factor, Savannah, no doubt about it. The crowd in both cities, both of these teams don't have multiple professional sports teams in town. So when the Spurs play in San Antonio and the Thunder play in Oklahoma City, I mean, everyone is all in. It's been great energy and great noise in both places. And both teams have played better at home, but both teams have won a road game in this series. So just because you're at home doesn't mean you're going to do it. There's one key player for them. It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP of the league last year, MVP this year, but he's been really held in check. San Antonio's defense has done a great job against him. He has to play better, and their role players off the bench, who usually play better at home, need to play better at home in Game 7.
I love that you made the point, too. These are 2 medium-sized markets, and it means so much to these communities there. This series, we have to remember, it started with the double overtime thriller. The Spurs won in OKC. It felt like a Game 7 was just written in the stars here. So no matter who wins, I mean, how do you think this conference championship is going to be remembered?
Well, I think a lot of it's going to depend on what happens the 2 weeks after this when they go play the New York Knicks, who've had a great run through the Eastern Conference. They've won 11 straight games. They're sitting back and resting and preparing, but they will be a rested team when they end up facing the winner of this series. I think what will be remembered from this series will be, one, who can play in the finals if they win, and secondly, who wins Game 7, because Game 7s are legacy games in sports, especially the NBA. We've only had 159 of them in the league's 80-plus years of history. In the Western Conference Finals, this length of the playoffs, we've only had 4 in the last quarter century. So these come along maybe every 7-8 years. They're very rare. There's a lot of pressure, a chance to play in the NBA Finals at stake. So everything you could ask for on the table for us on Saturday night in Oklahoma.
Oh, Mike, I love when you rattle off stats like that for us. Okay, let's bring it here to New York. I mean, it's just so much fun here in New York. The energy is crazy, but walk us through what you think. How do they match up against each of these teams?
Well, the Knicks have had a historic run to get to the finals. They've won 11 straight playoff games. They've averaged winning those games by 20-plus points. We haven't seen a team on that kind of a run in these games. I think the Knicks have 2 things to be concerned about. One, they've got a week off. Are you rusty? Does it take you a game to get back going? Can you stay as hot as they were? Because all the players were playing well. And the second part is going to be the opponent. Although beaten up by this series, although tired, Oklahoma City and San Antonio are 2 of the best defensive teams in the league. The Knicks didn't play a very good defensive team in any of the prior 3 rounds. Doesn't mean what they're doing isn't awesome. It just means it's going to be a bigger test. But the time to get ready for it and the run that they're on, plus the energy in Madison Square Garden when they have their finals games there, going to give the Knicks a great chance to bring home a championship, which New York, a great basketball city, has not seen since 1973. You guys weren't born. I was. You guys weren't born.
But you remember it well, right, Mike?
Not well, but I do remember it, Joe, which is scary. So that shows you. At some point, you go from the young guy who's been covering sports to the old guy who remembers stuff that happened before we were born. So I've arrived at that moment, but it's, as the kids say, it's been a minute for the Knicks.
You know what? While you're on that topic, the other day we were in a bar and a Hootie and the Blowfish video was playing. Gosh. And I think I saw a very young Mike Tirico making an appearance in that music video, Mike.
I Only Want to Be With You, the Darius Rucker-led song of Hootie and the Blowfish. That is my one and only music video credit. For some reason, Joe, we've gone like a quarter century and nobody has called to ask me to come back. So If anybody wants to call me, I'm here waiting to appear.
No,
do they do music videos anymore? I don't even know.
I don't think so. I think that was one of the last ones, Mike.
Thanks, Joe.
Good to see you, Mike Tirico. All right. By the way, the
Thank
NBA
you,
playoffs,
Mike.
they continue with that Game 7 between the Spurs and the Thunder. It's tomorrow in OKC. Coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on NBC and Peacock.
Woohoo. All right, now let's get your weather. Got to look at what to expect this weekend with your Morning News Now forecast.
Bill Cairns, what music videos have you been in?
I haven't been in any. I mean, that's Carson Daly territory, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's not me. Have you guys ever been in any weather so bad that you've questioned why you live there? Joe's from Minnesota, so he probably has done many winters doing that, I'm sure. I'm not sure about Savannah. But this is one of those weekends that people in the Northeast, especially in New England, especially coming on the heels of a really cold, kind of rainy Memorial Day weekend, this weekend is... it makes you strong. I'll tell you that much. So the storm is coming down out of Canada now. It doesn't look that bad. It's just going to be cold, windy, rainy, and more people than like are going to see snowflakes in the last weekend of May. So here's the timing of it. So for this evening, if anyone's doing any driving north of Boston, heading up towards Portland, Maine, through New Hampshire or in Maine, steady rain, kind of cold, chilly temperatures. The worst of it is early tomorrow morning. So this is at 7 a.m. And all of this bluish color, whitish, this is snow that is forecast. The ground is pretty warm, so a lot of it won't stick. Only at the highest of elevations, really above 3,000 feet, where not a lot of people live, like ski resorts. That's where we will see some of the snow. And then it will just rotate through Boston. I don't think Boston's going to see any flakes, but it will be a cold rain and wind. Here's the actual snow forecast. And this is 4 to 5 inches. So Mount Washington could get actually covered in snow. And even areas to the south of there, isolated spots. If you've been to the Killington ski resort there in Vermont, you're probably going to get some snow as we go throughout your Saturday morning. And for everyone else that's going to get that cold rain, you're going to be wearing your winter coat and you're going to have gloves on. Wind chill 35 in Portland, Key, New Hampshire, 35. Even Boston's going to have a wind chill of 39 degrees the last weekend in May. That's about as ugly as it gets. Other highlights this weekend, heavy rain in areas from Savannah southwards down to Jacksonville, Florida. We need it. We're in a drought. We're also going to get isolated severe storms possible from Amarillo to Lubbock to Midland later today. Maybe an isolated tornado, but for the most part, we're watching damaging hail and some strong wind gusts. So here's your weekend forecast. There's that rain on Saturday in the southeast. We need it. We don't like to ruin your weekend, but we're going to get it. We talked about the northeast, isolated severe storms on Saturday in the northern plains heading out of Montana. Still Sunday, kind of ugly in Montana too. There is some great weather to be had. A beautiful Sundays on tap for the mid-Atlantic, D.C. to New York. Sunday is your day. Kind of a 75 degrees, low humidity.
All right.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
He's looking at us right now like,
come on.
what
What's
more
the credit?
can you ask for?
All right, thank you, Bill. There is a new spelling bee, CHAMPION, this morning.
The end of this year's Scripps National Spelling Bee came down to a tiebreaker 90-second lightning round between the two finalists.
Kashaw. C-U-S-H-A-W. Trey, during the spell-off, you correctly spelled a total of 32 words. Eshan, you correctly spelled a total of 25 words, and that means that Shrey, you are the two-time.
I mean, it's so impressive, the speed. 14-year-old Shrey Parikh of California came out on top to defeat 12-year-old Eshan Gupta of New Jersey to be crowned champ, though Eshan also did great. He won the trophy as well as $50,000 in prize money, well, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. The winning word, as you heard there, kasha, it is a variant of the word kusha, which is a, quote, large round to ovoid squash that usually has mottled stripes and a curved neck. I'm sure they also knew that. Shrey finished third in the National Spelling Bee in 2024, which just shows, right? Persistence pays off.
That is awesome. Good for
congrats,
that. I'm always impressed. Did you ever do spelling bees when you were young?
I mean, like very low stakes ones.
Okay, right. That was my claim to fame is that I won 4 in a row in elementary school.
That's amazing.
Where the words were like, you know, the biggest word I think was embarrass.
Oh, wow.
I think that was as big as it got.
I mean, the R's and the S's.
There you go.
tricky.
See, I know. There you go.
You know how I know I didn't do well? I blocked it out. Don't remember details. That's funny. All right, much more to come here on this Friday edition of Morning News Now, including that hot heat wave washing over parts of Europe this morning. It is all at play at this year's French Open with more excruciating and more dangerous temperatures than ever before.
First, though, after the break, failure to launch a Blue Origin rocket exploding at Cape Canaveral overnight. So what went wrong? We've got some reaction from the owner, Jeff Bezos, next.
We are back with stunning video out of Cape Canaveral where a Blue Origin rocket erupted into a massive fireball on the launch pad during a test firing. The blast was seen and felt for miles. Look at this. Incredibly, no injuries were reported, but the launch tower was destroyed. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello joins us now with the details. Tom, amazing no one was injured.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a routine test on the ground. It turned into this fiery disaster for the company overnight. This is a 322-foot tall rocket. It's named after John Glenn. Completely blew up at about 9 p.m. Blue Origin now investigating what went wrong with this rocket, set to play a critical role in America's return to the moon.
It was a massive explosion lighting up the night sky over Cape Canaveral. Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket blowing up on the launch pad during a static test fire in Florida.
Oh, no, that's an explosion.
The blast shown from multiple angles, so massive it could be seen from a plane flying above. No injuries on the ground, but the incident destroyed one of the launch pad towers and shook the nearby community. Captured on nearby doorbell cameras, turning the night sky orange.
That is crazy. There's the shockwave.
Blue Origin is owned by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, who posted overnight that personnel are safe and the company is working to find the cause, adding, quote, very rough day, but we'll rebuild whatever needs rebuilding and get back to flying. That rebuilding will be key for America's plans to return to the moon. NASA just awarded Blue Origin a major contract to deliver rovers on New Glenn rockets to the moon's surface. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman announcing it earlier in the week.
In this moon-based endeavor, we certainly hope to be breaking records on nearly every mission.
Overnight, Isaacman posting spaceflight is unforgiving, and developing new heavy-lift launch capability is extraordinarily difficult, promising NASA will update on any impacts to the Artemis and moon-based programs. Blue Origin had been part of the next stage of Artemis, which aims to get American astronauts to the moon within just a few years. Artemis, of course, enjoyed extraordinary success with its lunar flyby last month. Now Isaacman promising NASA will, quote, get back to launching rockets, while the investigation and recovery from that devastating blast on the launch pad continue.
Setback is this. Tom, how big of a setback is this for Blue Origin and America's lunar program overall?
Well, I think the repairs here are likely going to take months. A setback also for deploying satellites, by the way. But Blue Origin is the key player in getting cargo and eventually astronauts to the moon. And that plan depends on many launches of this New Glenn rocket. And the rocket was grounded, by the way, last month after an engine failure put a satellite into a wrong orbit. But the company had been on track to launch a test flight this fall for a prototype lunar lander. But now this really does throw that schedule into question, at least in the near term.
All right, Tom Costello for us. Thank you so much.
Overseas, an intense heat wave is baking large portions of Europe this week. Millions are coping with unprecedented, record-shattering temperatures. It's even taking its toll on some of the best athletes in the world who are playing at the French Open. NBC News international correspondent Danielle Hamamjian is in London, where it hit 95 degrees this week. Danielle, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. In classic English weather, we've already had some sun and rain here in London this morning. Now, all week schools have been on midterm breaks, but in France, some schools have had to close because of the heat. In one school, according to officials, the temperature in the hallways reaching an unbearable 127 degrees.
Across Europe, scorching heat even before the official start of summer. Record temperatures blasting France, Spain, and the UK, soaring well above average.
I'm from California. This is like way hotter than I was expecting. I feel like I'm dying here.
At the Eiffel Tower, a misting system deployed earlier than expected, offering some relief.
Unprecedented. It's this hot this early in the year, so it's just a little concerning.
But on the tennis courts at the French Open, it's so excruciating, a ball girl almost fainted. Czech player Jacob Mensik, exhausted, collapsed on the court due to cramps at the end of a nearly 5-hour match.
It's insane to play in this weather. Very challenging conditions.
And 24-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic called for more night matches on hot days.
If you have, certain days that you have extreme heat and conditions, then maybe that's something to consider.
Officials say a massive high-pressure system known as a heat dome is trapping hot air over the continent. In Vatican City, even the Pope had to interrupt a meet and greet to check in on a man who had fainted. Hitting 104 degrees, Portugal saw its hottest day in May ever recorded, as did the UK, where a century-old temperature record was broken not once but twice this week. While in Italy, those iconic water fountains, hundreds of years old, still helping steaming tourists power through an early record-breaking heat wave.
Now, officials in France say at least 7 fatalities have been linked to the heat, while here in the UK, more than 10 people have died in water-related incidents. Tragically, many of them teenagers. Joe, back to you.
All right, Danielle, thank you so much. Coming up, another big-name politician is making his voice heard on AI.
When we come back, what California's Gavin Newsom is now changing his tune on the tech after years of Silicon Valley support. That's next on Morning News Now.
Back now, the closer look at what's making news in the world of politics this morning, starting with the member of President Trump's family who was a possible target of terrorism.
NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen joins us with more on that and other headlines from Washington. John, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Savannah. Good morning, Joe. A lot going on at home and abroad. Ivanka Trump, a possible target of terrorism. Mohammed al-Sadi, the commander of the Iraq-based group Kataib Hezbollah, which allegedly has ties to the Iranian military, he was indicted Thursday in New York on a slew of charges related to terrorist attacks across the globe. The Justice Department did not mention Ivanka Trump in the indictment, but al-Sadi discussed possibly targeting her, the president's eldest daughter, in her home state of Florida. That, according to 3 sources who spoke to NBC News. Counterterrorism is a big piece of the argument for artificial intelligence. But with polls showing more Americans are skeptical of AI, worried about job losses, rising energy costs, even machines taking over, some elected officials are tapping the brakes. Even some, like California Governor Gavin Newsom, who have reaped the benefits of tax revenue and campaign contributions from that industry. Newsom is widely expected to run for president in 2028, paying attention to what polls are saying, and he's shifting toward the populist left on AI. He just signed an executive order that requires state agencies to work with the industry to find ways to offset job losses in the state. And his California budget proposal, it would boost antitrust lawsuits against AI companies. So keeping the eye on AI, guys. It could be the top issue in 2028. But no matter what machines can do, there will always be room for human error in presidential campaigns. Newsom's fellow Democratic governor, Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, announced yesterday that she won't run in 2028. Whoops. A few hours later, she walked it back. Now, like James Bond, she says she'll, quote, never say never again. Back to you guys.
All right, John Allen, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well, coming up, a heated controversy brewing at beaches across America.
When Morning News Now returns, why some summer hotspots are now cracking down on gear like tents, canopies, umbrellas to make the season a little bit safer for both body and mind. That's next. Stick with us. We are back with an important reminder ahead of summer.
Yeah, it's the time of year when families, of course, are planning pool days and trips to the beach. So this morning, we are talking about simple steps to keep your family safe in and around the water.
Joining us now is Amanda Greenbaum, founder of Swims with Amanda, who spent 15 years teaching kids how to swim. Good to have you with us here. I mean, just the basic question here. Why is it so important to teach our kids to swim? And just how young can you actually start that process?
So learning to swim is a lifelong process, right? It's not something that you just start and then you complete. You can start as young as 1 with the American Academy of Pediatrics. They just came out with new guidelines. I actually recommend you can start even younger at home. So with your child, water exposure in the bathtub, in the pool, really having them feel what water feels like on their face, on their body, and not letting things deter that. Don't cover their face, don't shield their face, don't wipe the water away. Let them feel what water feels like when you're really young, and then let that continue through your whole life. Water exposure and consistency is the key.
Wow, really good there. And it's very interesting. They actually lowered it, right, I think from age 4 down to age 1, which just shows you how important this is to get started with. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you do see parents making, and how can we fix those?
Biggest mistakes with my number one thing is that people say their children are not ready. So not ready to me does not mean you shouldn't try, right? Children should be put in situations that are not necessarily comfortable, but that are safe. So to learn to swim is not an unsafe experience. You find a good teacher, you find a good instructor, and you trust that teacher, and you let that process be what it needs to be. So tears do not equal fears when it comes to something like that.
I love that.
And you have some great tips here, too. A water watcher, making sure you have that, keeping kids within arm's reach. Those are important things that the parents need to do, right?
Yeah, my main thing really is being in the water with your children. You must be within arm's reach of your children. A lot of what we're seeing in floaties and arm-restricting floaties, different brands, of course, you don't need these things. Be in the water with your child. If your child is in the water, you should be in the water. If they are in a vest of some kind, you should still be in the water with them within arm's reach at all times.
You have to imagine it's different if you're in a pool versus, say, you're in the ocean, or where I'm from in Minnesota, a lake. What are the things that parents should keep in mind when it comes to those differences?
So in a pool, flotation devices, in my opinion, are not needed. You should be there with your child. They should experience what water feels like. In open water and on moving vessels, you should always be in a U.S. Coast Guard approved life vest. And that goes for every age, not just children. The main cause of deaths in teenagers as well is drowning. It sparks again when they get older. So it's 1 to 4, and then again when you're a teenager, because you take off the life vest and you get comfortable. And when you're in open water and on a moving vessel, you are never stronger than the water.
Right. Amanda Greenbaum, some great advice here. Thanks so much for joining us and getting parents thinking about this as summer kicks off.
Thank you for having me.
Timely reminders. Well, now from staying safe in the water to what you should know this summer when you are ready to relax on the beach. So, of course, more people are heading to the shore. Some beaches, though, are putting new restrictions on oversized tents, those canopies, those fabric ones, and even umbrellas, citing safety concerns and also beach etiquette. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch joins us now from Miami Beach with more. Jesse, this has become quite the debate, I know. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Savannah. It's really just the newest chapter in something, right, that we've heard again and again. When you're out here enjoying a beautiful day at the beach, for as long as I can remember, something like this has been a staple. The bright, colorful umbrellas trying to help you keep cool, not get too tan, not get a sunburn. Increasingly, though, people are turning to stuff like this, these wind-driven canopies, which can also provide shade, and perhaps not surprisingly, it's renewing the debate over what you should and should not have when you come for a day at the beach. And when it comes to those newer options, some people are even throwing some shade.
For so many, summer is about views like this.
I don't really get this fascination that people have with the ocean.
But those of us who do enjoy a day at the beach sometimes need shady relief. And this morning, the debate over the best solution rages on.
You're sticking with what you know.
I do love the classic umbrella.
It's not pulling out of my hands.
No, you can't. A kid can hold it.
More and more people are packing up their beach umbrellas and hoisting wind-driven canopies, like the one we found John Moreno using on Florida's Hollywood Beach.
And when you see all these umbrellas and then you got this, who do you think's the smarter customer?
Me. This is much better.
People like John say umbrellas are heavier and more likely to blow away in the wind, which can be dangerous.
You get the spiral thing and you drill it into the ground, it's not going anywhere.
But even some public safety professionals see these canopy-like devices as a safer bet. One product getting a lot of attention, the Shibumi Shade.
It's the greatest thing ever invented.
There are critics, too, saying these devices take up more space than umbrellas and block the view. But Shibumi's co-founder says umbrellas can be more of a nuisance.
You would say to get the same amount of shade, people are going to wind up putting down multiple umbrellas and take up the same footprint.
That's right. That's right.
It's not just aesthetics.
The cabanas, shibumis, and tents, big tents are not allowed. You can have only single pole umbrella and small tent for a baby.
Cities like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, restrict the use of certain devices to ensure lifeguards can see everything they need. Back on Hollywood Beach, shibumis, umbrellas, and open-air tents are generally allowed, as long as they don't blow away or block lifeguards' view.
The lifeguard in the stand should be able to see anywhere where the water touches the sand and beyond, obviously. That's where the most dangerous things happen out there.
And among those seeking waterfront views for relaxation, some want sun over shade of any kind.
You're anti-umbrella.
I am anti-everything.
General rule of thumb, before you go to the beach, find out what the local rules are where you are heading. In Hollywood, Florida, for example, there are limits on the size of the tent. You can't put multiple tents together, so you might have rules like that place to place. Here in Miami Beach, generally, you're good to bring whatever you want for the shade, but the big rule, Savannah, everything stays this side of the lifeguard stand so the lifeguards can have a clear view of the waterfront and make sure everyone stays safe. Question remains, though, what is going to block people's view more? Something like this or something like this? We asked people their thoughts on the beach, and here is one opinion we heard from people who both had wind canopies and people who had umbrellas. If you get there early enough, no one's blocking your view. So long story short, once again, the early bird catches the worm. I'll be here all day if you're looking for me. Not the best cell signal, though, so I might take a bit to get back to you, Savannah. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Well, lucky you. And by the way, I am extremely anti-Shibumi, for the record.
Got
this
it.
thing.
Okay.
It's way too loud and disruptive to the other.
Anti-Shibumi, okay.
Yes. All right, bye, Jesse.
The weekend has started for Jesse, so all right. Moving from the beach to business headlines this morning, Anthropic is dethroning its rival OpenAI in one specific category.
NBC News business and economy reporter Ali Canal has our Money Minute. Hey, Ali.
Hey, guys. Good morning. That's right. The AI race just keeps on keeping on here. Anthropic, which is the maker of the AI chatbot Claude, announced it has raised $65 billion in new funding. That values the company at nearly $1 trillion and makes Anthropic the world's most valuable AI startup, surpassing OpenAI. That's the company behind ChatGPT, which was most recently valued at just around $850 billion. Anthropic says the cash will help the company expand its computing power and keep pace in the high-stakes race to dominate artificial intelligence. And a major shakeup at CBS News. The network has replaced the executive producer of 60 Minutes, Tanya Simon, with former New York Times tech columnist Nick Bilton, who has never worked in television news. He takes over as CBS continues a broader overhaul of its news division under editor-in-chief Bari Royce. The changes also come as the network's parent company, Paramount, navigates its pending merger with Warner Brothers Discovery, which would also give it control of CNN. And finally, YouTube is making a bigger push into podcasts. The company says more than 1 billion people now watch podcasts on YouTube each month. And to keep those users engaged, the platform is adding new features for paying subscribers, including smart playback speeds that automatically speed up or slow down depending on the content, helping users listen more efficiently, plus AI-powered podcast recommendations. YouTube says premium users alone watched more than 800 million hours of podcasts last month as the race for more eyeballs and ears continues across the streaming and audio industry. And this is just something we're seeing across the board. More features, more ways to hook people, and ultimately more ways to spend a little bit of extra money.
It's just so funny that it's like such a simple thing.
Yeah.
It's not that visual. It's basically radio, and like everyone's into it right now.
Everything's going back to the old ways, right?
Exactly.
Even with streaming, it's basically cable.
Exactly.
That's very true. Ali, thanks.
Coming up, we have finally made it to Friday. That can only mean one thing here on Morning News Now.
We've got your front row seat to the latest and greatest from the world of Hollywood, just in time for your weekend. Who better to share some early morning popcorn with than our own Kay Ingram from NBC New York. She's got everything that you simply can't miss. That's next.
of this hour, time for your weekly can't miss list. A look at all the movies, music, and shows that you need to see and hear this weekend.
Joining us this week, NBC New York digital reporter and our friend Kay Ingram. Kay, great to see you.
Always great to be seen by you two.
Okay, we are going to start with this one. It's going to be in theaters. It is called Backrooms. It's like this low-budget horror, psychological thriller kind of thing with this whole internet lore. Tell us.
Absolutely. Low budget, but it's expected to make a big splash this weekend in theaters. I, for one, am obsessed with the lore of it all. So it essentially started back in 2019. There was this post that was put up on 4chan, of all places. And essentially, you've got this 20-year-old director, Kane Parsons, who he puts online a 9-minute, 10-minute clip of what this world, of what that photo could look like. And now here we are this many years later, and you've got a full feature film from it. A24 is behind it. And essentially, you've got this therapist, a guy who's living in the basement of his furniture store, and these yellow walls you're looking at, they keep going on and on and on. It's horror. I'm not into horror, but I am into the lore of it all. And so folks are excited. It should be a big debut for him.
It seems like we have a new horror movie coming out every single week.
And they're all doing well.
It's nowhere close to Halloween yet. So mixed feelings about that for me. All right, so D-Day week is next week. We have the film Pressure, starring Oscar winner Brendan Fraser. This focuses on a part of the Normandy invasion. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, there goes Brendan right there as Eisenhower. Like, the comb over is insane. But listen, just like you said, right, we are upon that D-Day anniversary, but this is a lesser known story based on a true story. You've got this meteorologist, James Stagg, and so he's a group captain, and he played a pivotal role in deciding the day when D-Day would happen. And so it's not just the elements of the soldiers and the armor and the gear, but it's also Mother Nature and those elements and how that played into how those events unfolded.
I happened to see it for a screener for an interview. It was actually, I thought it was very good. Cool, like this niche true story. Okay, tell us about The Breadwinner. Let's go lighter mood.
Lighter mood for sure. This one's for the families. So if you want to see that this weekend, Breadwinner, you've got this breadwinner mama. She goes on Shark Tank. You can see it there. She's got this business, but then she goes away on a business trip. And then there you've got the girls left to be alone with dad. He has to figure it out. Nate there, of course, this is his first feature film. You've also got Mandy Moore, who plays the mom. And so chaos ensues. It should be funny. It should be light. And we'll see how he handles it.
Yeah, Nate Bargatze with the kids. We'll have to see how that goes. All right, we got a minute left, so let's see what we can get through here. If you're streaming Star City, it's a spin-off from For All Mankind. Different perspective, getting great reviews.
Absolutely. Paranoid thriller. Great reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Look at it there, 100% already. Amazing. It recounts the events of the alt history that was already laid out from For All Mankind. But this one, you know, of course, in this version, the U.S. lost the space race. But this kind of like focuses more on the KGB surveillance department of it all. And so if you're into that, that's out.
Okay, I'm calling an audible because we don't have that much time left and we got to talk about Hilary Duff.
We have to talk about Hilary Duff. Metamorphosis was my first album growing up. And so essentially she has dropped 7 songs that she's already put out, but this one is the Mine version. So she was inspired by Taylor Swift to essentially do her own version of the classic hits. And so for me, I'm really excited about all of it. And so that's out on all streaming platforms.
It's the year of Hilary Duff. Who knew? All right.
It really is.
Hey,
and the Taylor Swift influence.
Yeah.
Always. Appreciate it. It's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us. The news continues right now.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.